Okay, so hi guys. So in this video, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and do this problem. It says graph the function f of x equals 2x squared plus 4x minus 6, and then label the vertex axis of symmetry and state the x and y intercepts, right? So with this function, I went ahead and rewrote it here, and you don't, what I did, because this is the second time that I'm recording this, you don't want to factor the two out, because what's going to happen when you do that is that basically it's going to, and I mean you can do that, but you're going to have to make sure to multiply it back in. The best way to do this, and obviously let me just go ahead and label my a, b, and c first. Okay, so here we can clearly see that a is equal to 2, so we have a equals 2, b is equal to 4, and our c value is actually negative 6. Now, the axis of symmetry, I like to call it AOS for axis of symmetry. Give me a second. Is basically going to be the following. So it's going to be negative b, so negative b, and actually it's like this. So x equals, and it's going to be negative b over 2a. And so obviously that's why we want to go ahead and label our a, b, and c. And the axis of symmetry just means that if you remember from, if they've already taught you, basically it means that when you have a parabola, it's the line that divides the parabola in half. I just want to make that very clear. So we're first going to find our axis of symmetry, and the way that we're going to do this, so we have x equals, and we know that b is 4, so it's going to be negative, and I'm going to put 4 over 2 times, and I know that my a value is 2. So we're going to go ahead and do that. So we have negative 4 over 4, and that's going to be negative 1. So now that I've found my axis of symmetry, I'm going to go ahead and plug that back in for the function to find my y term. So here's how it's going to go. So I'm going to do f of negative 1 is equal to 2 times, and it's going to be negative 1 quantity squared plus 4 times negative 1 minus 6. So then we have 2 times, and negative 1 squared is 1, and then minus 4 minus 6. This gives us 2 minus 4 minus 6. 2 minus 4 is negative 2, and then minus 6 is negative 8. So I know that my vertex is actually going to be, and if they haven't taught you guys this, it's negative b over 2a, comma, f of negative b over 2a, whenever it's, basically it's the axis of symmetry as the x value, and then the y value is whatever you get for the output for y when you plug the axis of symmetry back in. So don't I wouldn't overthink this. It just, that's basically what that means. And so we know that, like I said, our axis of symmetry was negative 1, so our vertex, our x value is negative 1, and our y value ended up being negative 8. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to plot that in into the graph. So it's going to be right here. So this is my vertex right here. And then, so like I said, that's my vertex. And so then we're going to go ahead and find, and like I said, my axis of symmetry, some of them require you to label it, others don't, but I'm going to label it anyways. My axis of symmetry is right here. So like I said, it's the line that divides the graph, the parabola, in half. So we have like this, right? And so like I said, my axis of symmetry, AOS, is x equals -1. And so from here, what we're going to do is, and another thing, is that we can figure out our y-intercept. When x equals 0, so our y-intercept is 0 comma y, really. It's when x equals 0. So we're going to plug in 0 for x. So evaluate f of x at x equals 0. So we have 2 times 0 quantity squared plus 4 times 0 minus 6. Obviously, we're going to get 0 plus 0 minus 6. It's just going to be -6. So when x equals 0, y equals -6. So our y-intercept is like right here, right? And then we want to go ahead and find maybe a few more points when it comes to graphing this parabola. So the main idea here is we're going to look at, since we already did our x-intercept here, our y-intercept, we are going to do this, we're going to evaluate a number to the right of our y-intercept. So when x equals 1, let's go ahead and kind of make a table here. So when x equals 1, we have 2 times 1 squared plus 4 times 1 minus 6. And again, this is my function that I'm kind of using to evaluate it. So then this gives us 2 plus 4 minus 6. This is 6 minus 6, which is 0. So obviously I know that we have 1 comma 0. So obviously that is one of my x-intercepts, but we'll get to that in a minute. And then when x equals 2, so now we're going to do it at 2, we have f of 2 is equal to 2, and let me kind of zoom in here. Let me actually color code. So obviously we just evaluate it, so 2 times 4 plus 8 minus 6, this is really 8 plus 8 minus 6, which is 16 minus 6, which is 10. So it's really all the way up in our last y value, so it'll be at 2 comma 10, which is like right here. And that is really the highest we can go, so I can't do any more values on the right side. So I know, and because my axis of symmetry is x equals -1, what I'm going to do is reflect my points. So I'm going to do 1, 1, and this is a shortcut to kind of do the rest of your how do I say it, your x values. So we're going to go 1, 2, 1, 2. So it's going to be like right here. And like I said, let me go ahead and take this off. Okay. And so then we're doing the same thing here. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And you kind of want to be careful when you do that because you want to make sure you're counting, the correct units. So now that we have, kind of the general curve, we can clearly see that this kind of forms a parabola. And like I said, well, not like I said, but it doesn't have to be perfect when you draw it. I have said this in previous videos when I did this in x-intercept form and all that stuff. So here we have, that's basically what we have. And then one more thing, I'm going to just state my vertex, my axis of symmetry, all that good stuff. So like I said, our vertex here was a -1, -8. So we're going to go ahead and put that here. -1, -8. And then our axis of symmetry was x equals -1. And then our x-intercept was our two x-intercepts were -3, 0 and 1, 0. So And obviously our y-intercept was 0, comma, -8, right? So these are our 4 things that we want to label, or that we want to state, and so this is our function. And so that is how we graph a function in standard form or general form when it comes to ax squared plus bx plus c. So that is going to be it for this video, guys. If anybody has any questions, please let me know. And also, please like, comment, and or subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.